Today is a bit of a video by request. I'm getting a number of questions from people who are stuck in a very stressful cycle where they're trying to get down to their original weight or they're trying to lose that last 10 pounds, but they keep yo-yoing on various diets and they're overeating and then they're under-eating and they're very stressed out and they don't know what to do and they gotta lose that last 10 pounds. What's going on? Well, the reason why we have such yo-yo effect is because we're bouncing between two stressful situations. Now, on one side of the situation, you have restriction and deprivation, which is unhealthy. So whatever reason you're using diet and exercise methods that are over-restrictive, they're over-stressful, you're over-dieting, which will be a topic for another video, but there is such a thing as over-dieting. You can take that low-sugar, vegan, keto, paleo thing too far, believe it or not. Just like you can overtrain, you can over-diet. So when you over-diet, you're restricting yourself so much that you're creating physical stress, mental stress, maybe even emotional stress. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you also have overeating, right? So you have overeating where you're eating way too much, you're overloading yourself physically, but it also has stress physically from overeating because you overeat and you're like, oh gosh, that doesn't feel very good. But it also carries mental and emotional stress too from feeling like, oh my gosh, I did something terribly wrong. Now I'm guilty and anxious about the whole thing. So I like to think of these two things on the end of a pendulum spectrum. Ideally, a good diet has your pendulum fairly in the middle and you're just kind of hanging out here in the middle. You maybe have a night out where you eat one too many slices of pizza, no big deal, but the next day you go out on a longer hike or something, you're just kind of hanging out here. And this is where you're safe, this is where stress is minimalized, this is where your health is optimized, and there's minimum effort in maintaining it. But we can quickly start to throw that pendulum into a much bigger swing through just a couple of series of events where it's like, oh, I way overate, now I've got to make up for it, I'm going to go super strict my diet, and then we're over dieting, we're stressing out, so then we collapse and we go back, and now we're stuck in this big wide pendulum arc, which basically keeps you going from one place to the other, which both suck. They're unhealthy for mind, body, and soul. The reason why we often do this is because when we find ourselves at each end, we start going in the other direction, and when we get to about here, there's a lot of relief from that type of stress, but we overshoot the target. And then we're over here, and we're like, oh crap, this sucks too, and we keep overshooting this. So what do you do? Well, the biggest reason why we keep doing this is because we're trying to undo the damage of both of these scenarios. Physical damage, whether it's weight gain or just stress physically, mental, and emotional. But the real thing that we need to do is just get back to here. And we can't do that if we keep trying to, quote, make up for what we did on either end of the spectrum. So if you're finding yourself over-dieting, then overeating, and over-dieting, and overeating, is next time you do an overeating, is don't try to go so strict with yourself. Don't be like, I'm going to fast for 48 hours and no sugar and all that. Just try to get back to a very stable diet. As I'm always saying, you're only as strong as you are stable, and that goes for your diet too. But most people are trying to eat right, or they're trying to eat healthy, or they're trying to eat clean and stuff. I say forget all that. None of that did anybody any good because the research has shown that what really is helpful isn't the right or the clean diet, it's a stable diet. What habits can you easily maintain consistently? So regain stability rather than trying to go extreme. And that's going to be different for everybody, but usually it means just go back to a very moderate diet. The occasional little treat, little something each day perhaps, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're not overeating, you're not undereating. Once you get stable here, even if you do have like that extra 10 pounds to lose, then you can employ things like calorie hacking, for your ebook down below in description, by the way. You can employ the calorie hacking to momentarily swing one way or the other, or preferably this direction, for a very short-term chunk of weight loss, or you may even find that just hanging out here makes your weight come down automatically. You don't need to go to extremes in order to make up any sort of damage that you had from over there. Lots of times when people are overdoing the eating, if they just go back to a fairly normal average diet, their weight will come back down to their normal levels because they have a normal diet. All right, let me know your thoughts and questions on this down below. Love to help you out. Also, don't forget that calorie hacking ebook is also down below as well. Just click the link and it's yours. Talk to you next time. Be fit, live free.